All right, you guys all right? You guys all right? Cool. Now what you need to do, turn to the person next to you, right and left. I want you to introduce yourself. Name, school, major, and office. Name, school, major, and office. Go. Friend. Who just made a new friend? I did. Who found something in common with their new friend? Okay. What did you find out in commmmon? Right here? What's over here? Rachel, what did you find out in common with your new friend? Yeah, what did you learn about Eddie?
Actually, I've never seen this kid before in my life.
So Eddie likes food, all right? Eddie likes food. They both live in Florida. That's outstanding. Jonathan, what did you find out about your new friend?
All three of us want to go to the same school. I go to BU, they want to go to BU.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Amazing. BUs, bow, or boo. What did you learn about your friend? Open college. It's amazing. What did you learn about your friend? You do? It's incredible. Last one.
We both want to get
DLA bound. I love it. Here's the deal. This right here is your new circle of influence for today and for the rest of this event. So what you want to do is this is your new partner. This is your new partner friend. You want to get to know them. You want to learn about them. You want to go to tables like FSM, late night with FSM with them. You want to hold them accountable. You want to exchange phone numbers with them. You want to vector connect with them, if you know what I'm saying. No, I don't do that. You want to establish some sort of friendship with them. Now, if you don't like them, don't take offense to them.
Top right?
Fine.
Yeah. The top, you see
That's fine, because it's only for today. But if you do like them, keep it going.
But yeah, that's what
all right. You guys feeling good? No, or yeah? Yes! So I want to bring up our next speaker. And you want to go ahead and reach for some pen and paper for this next message.
Nope. It's on there.
So you guys know what the Fort Lauderdale crew is doing under Luke Maseko's leadership. It is really, really impressive. See, you guys know the Luke different than I know the Luke. See, I know the Luke as the really tall big dude that was in the Gainesville organization. And when I saw Luke as the #2 branch manager, I saw the name. I didn't remember who it was. I just knew the name. I knew there was a big dude in the Gainesville office, and I knew the name Luke Maseko, but I did not know they were the same thing. I didn't know they were the same thing. But then when I saw Luke come up and give a speech, I was like, oh, that's the same person. That's the guy. I knew he was impressive, but I didn't know he was that impressive. That's what's exciting about performing. You get on people's radar. You get known. Because they'll know the name and they know the face, and then when they put the two together, they're like, oh, that makes sense. That's pretty much what happened with Luke Maseko. I don't need to tell you all the stats, but I will tell you he started 3 years ago as the number 2 rep in his office. He was an assistant manager in the pilot office and number 2 sales rep for the SC2 push. So he sold a lot of knives as an assistant manager. Then he took the leap and ran a branch. He was the number 2 branch manager in the entire country after being an assistant manager the previous summer. Became the pilot sales manager and is the number 2 in the nation. They just led their team to $1 million in Cutco sales. Have only been done just a few times in company history. And as you just saw, he was also number 2 for this conference championship push. So if you notice a theme here, Luke is a great silver medalist. He's a great silver medalist. He's really good at owning the number 2 spot. So if you want to be like Luke Maseko and you want to learn how to own the number 2 spot and be a great silver medalist, go ahead and reach for that pen and paper because he's going to teach you how to be an expert at winning the silver. Help me bring on Mr. Luke Maseko.
Put together a bio for him. I was like, I've been number 2. So you're gonna be on staff in the pilot next year. Look forward to being number 1. That's pretty fun. But yeah. So I was getting breakfast with Mila yesterday. Actually, I'm pretty sure she's been to every Champions Club that she has been out of town. Pretty fun. She's been to every single Champions Club since she's been out of town, and that was my last Champions Club yesterday morning. So we're like, hey, let's go grab breakfast. Let's talk about the summer, debrief the summer. What are the biggest lessons and stuff? Among those lessons was getting her voice memos from 2 minutes down to about 20 seconds. But we were talking about different positions in the company. I was talking about what I plan to do and an ideal scenario for me. And she brought up, she's like, hey, what does a district manager actually do? Oh, shoot, we got a lot of work to do. So I want to make this talk a little bit different. I'm going to start off by, you guys, all of you here for your first summer, probably have a perception of what all these different positions are. I want to reframe that perception because I was someone that was in your shoes that had a certain perception of all these positions. And now that I'm kind of on this side of the coin, they're all completely different. And I want to reframe your perception of what they can be. But what I want you to know is that all these positions, from assistant manager all the way up to division manager, they have a very unique opportunity to take you beyond just achievement. Being number 2 in the nation, it's pretty cool. I'm not complaining about silver. And if we're going to lose to anyone, might as well be Andrew Evans 1 year and Drew Frank the next. So, but that's just achievement. It really has a chance to bring you past that to something called fulfillment. Not working. There we go. Fulfillment. And achievement, it's there to orient your direction or orient your action. But what it's all about at the end of the day is fulfillment, and fulfillment comes from fulfilling your potential. And focusing solely on results and achievement, what that does, it only meets the standards of others. You're not meeting your own standards by doing that. But when you find fulfillment, I find that it's a 2-step process if you want to write this down. Number 1 is you have to realize your potential. That's something before management, I had no clue. It helps you realize your potential. And number 2, fulfillment is when you use that potential to serve something or someone beyond yourself. You use that potential to serve something or someone beyond yourself. And I have to say, there are very few places where you're able to find that, especially at our age, where you're able to find that in a job, in a summer job. And I believe the management opportunity gives you a platform for deeper fulfillment and in finding your true potential. And that's what it's really done for me. So I want to give you some perspective. What I want to do is show you, when I was in your shoes, what I thought of each positions along the management ladder. And now that, it's funny, now that I'm one of the old dudes in the business, 2014, I want to give you my perspective on what it is and what it can be for you. So the first one, is assistant manager. So assistant manager. There we go. Assistant manager, I saw as a position my first summer that had less pressure. There's less pressure to be a branch. You're not in charge. I saw it as kind of an opportunity where I could learn management without being pushed into leadership. I was a little scared to branch my first summer. I was like, I don't think branch is for me. That's for the crazy nice people that are trying to commit a whole summer to just this. So I saw it as an opportunity, kind of like a cop-out, you know, management without leadership. And I saw it as the easier. You know, it used to be to me that assistant manager was something like, oh, the people that go through TLA and don't quite earn a branch, they become assistants. You know, it's like ones that didn't work hard enough, but the ones that kind of go through the motion, they become assistants. I want to assure you right now, in this organization, that is not the case. That is not the case at all. So now, from this side of the coin, assistant manager is an opportunity for perfect practice to make perfect. We always heard practice makes perfect. That's not true. Perfect practice makes perfect. You know what the assistant manager position now is the training position. And it's a way to take your branch training to the next level. It's kind of like TLA on steroids. All right, it's a way to take your branch training to the next level. And you're able to learn things at a deeper level than you are because you're able to see them in a much higher powered office other than your own. It's kind of like learning the job on someone else's dollar, on your manager's dollar, and you get paid for it. Pretty cool. It's like TLA on steroids. Okay, it's a way to extend TLA through the summer and extend your learning and your growth through the summer. And one thing I was listening to Mike's talk from a conference this weekend. One thing I really love that he started his organization is triple growth. It allows yourself to grow professionally, personally, and financially. Professionally, you learn to run a business. Grant Pearson got some real great professional training this summer, and Dave. And the staff meetings that we went through, I believe it's the best branch training anybody in the entire nation has because they understand the business. They understand it. They understood a business plan, how to implement that plan, how to manage people. We gave them direction. And, you know, they weren't the best trained assistants in the world, but they knew exactly what needed to get done, and they got it done. That's powerful to be able to say you did that. I can't think of many jobs where you're able to learn something like that on a summer job. There's no internships out there where you learn something like that. They're able to expand themselves personally. I've had talks with Pearson and Grant since they've gone to college, and the talks I'm having with them, this is a completely different person than I was talking to at the beginning of the summer. Talks I was having with Grant about circles of influence and how he's going out to seek out leadership at Indiana University. It was things that I was learning from him. You know, that's one great thing we get from circles of influence and filling in those circles when you're in management is, you know, just because someone's in your Teach 4 circle doesn't mean you're just teaching. I take just as much from them as they're giving me. I learned a lot from Grant Pearson this summer. And, you know, they're able to expand themselves personally, professionally, but also financially. As Kirsten sold $20,000 around an AM schedule this summer. She makes over 30% on that. And she also got paid on the office, and all that office pay went into savings. As a PSM, I got to see all your savings. Kirsten's got more saved than anyone in this room other than direct managers of an office. That's awesome. She's got a lot of money saved up, and she pays her own sorority dues. She pays her own tuition, and she's just crushing it financially. That's awesome. Then I want to talk about branch manager. Here's what I thought about branch manager before. It was too hard. Most people don't know this. You may. I did not want to branch at all. Even as I was in AM, I had no intention of branching. Like, there is no way I'm going to branch. It just seems too hard. It seems out of my comfort zone. It seemed like too much work. I was like, who's going to commit that much work to the summer? Who's going to be working that hard the whole time, working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks? And I thought it was too risky. You know, when you're a branch, you're running a business. You put up your own money to run the business. I wanted a branch with about 6 to 10 grand. I needed that to run the Boca Raton office. But beforehand, I was like, you know, it's too risky, a little too hard, too much work. I was not about branch until it was after SC2 push, my first summer, or my AM summer, that I finally just opened my mind to branch. You know, and it was funny, Kayla and I actually, you know Kayla from the pilot, we sat down at the beginning of our AM summer, and she was like, hey, you can branch. Like, no way, way too hard. Here's what I think about the branch opportunity now. You get to be your own boss. Okay, obviously, I know that just from talking to a lot of you guys on your PCs before your TLA interview, this is something that appeals to a lot of you. You want to be your own boss. That's something that, you know, if there's something that's positive about our generation, it's that just about everyone wants to be their own boss. Not a lot of people want to just work for other people. And it's a very unique opportunity to be able to say you do that. Here's the big one for me. This is the big light bulb. It helped me realize my potential. Where going into branch, I had no clue what to expect. I didn't know if I was going to sell 100K. I didn't know if I was going to sell 500K. So it was a game changer for me to be able to realize. We just sold about $250 million, $250,000. $250,000, and it helped me realize my potential and my capacity of what I was actually able to do. Going into it, I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. And we really came out of the gate strong, and it reframed my whole mindset, and I've been a different animal ever since. In life, not just in business, but in everything I've ever done, I've had a higher standard of excellence because I ran branch office. And this is a quote from Grant Cardone: be obsessed or be average. And what I started to notice was I had this, some of you might relate to this, but I had this deep drive in me that I do not want to be average. The last thing I ever want to be in our generation is average. And being average sucks. And I think there's something deep down inside all of you that agrees with that, otherwise you wouldn't have done the night job. And this is just taking that to kind of an exponential level. But there is no growth outside of your comfort zone. So I want to open up your mind to this kind of thing, because you can either be obsessed or be average. Your friends might tell you, dude, you're spending so much time with the night job. Pretty sure Mila's had a friend break up with her. A friend break up. I don't know how that's a thing, but she's like, I'm breaking up with you because the night job. But if you don't take something that seriously, that's how people be average. So be obsessed or be average. I want to talk about the district manager opportunity. This is something that you could ask me a year ago, and I would have been like, hey, even while I was branching, I was like, hey, no chance. I was like, you're selling knives forever. I can't sell knives forever. I remember I used to tell a friend in my fraternity, yeah, I might go district, like, sell knives forever. Yeah, I saw it from people that kind of had a lack of options. I've always seen myself that, my dad's in the finance industry, I could always go work for him, go work for Merrill Lynch. It's a good company. I have options ahead of me, so I don't need something like that. So I just kind of counted it out. And this is my big downfall. Especially until about my AM summer in the pilot, I thought I was too good. And we talked about limiting beliefs in our alliance, and that was kind of my limiting belief, that I thought I was too good for things. I was cocky. Because of the way I grew up, because of the way I'd always been treated, I always thought I was too good for it. But here's how this has totally changed since then. You're not selling knives forever, you're selling an opportunity forever. You're selling an opportunity for young people who are able to impact people. The one thing that really started to open up my mind to being a district manager was I started looking at entry-level jobs in the finance industry. And they have a lot of job fairs and stuff at UF for finance majors. And I would go to every single one of them. I would talk to them about internships and jobs. And I just realized that, it's about the highest paid entry-level job you're going to get out there if you do well. And I know that I'm someone that can do well. So I was like, well, financially, there's the upside. And I was talking to all these people at these job fairs, and it's funny because in finance, I was like, hey, someone asked, I remember, I was in a Raymond James session. I said, hey, what is something that we can be doing right now to prepare ourselves for the finance industry? They're like, oh, go find a sales job. Because everything is sales. You're selling yourself, you're selling your services, you're selling to your clients. So go find a sales job. There's something out there called Cutco. You should probably go try to do that for the summer. So I'm just sitting in my chair like, what? So I went up, I told her about what I was doing. I was like, yeah, I ran an office this summer, sold $250,000, and they had an internship. Like, it was for applying for an internship. Like, you know what? You should stick to doing that. So I go, oh, okay. It's an opportunity for constant impact and growth. Most of my talk is going to be going over this, the impact and growth opportunity through it. But district manager is a unique opportunity where you really have the opportunity to develop people. And especially at a very fragile times in our lives, we're being formed into the young men and women that we're going to be. You have that impact on a whole generation. Vector works with, I think it's anywhere from 20 to 40,000 college students every year. That's the size of a large college. And those ripple effects go out throughout the community. We make a huge impact here as managers, and I see district managers as a platform for that. And one huge thing is the high impact circles of influence. I think it was Jeff who said, your influence can extend to unlimited amounts of people, so be careful who you get influenced by. And that was a huge light bulb for me. I thought that was awesome. But just if you look around at the district manager table right now that we have in our division, it's something special. Mike Abramowitz, I was just a big light kid to him. He was also just the Clearwater manager to me. I didn't really know who he was. But getting to know him this year, that man is something that takes personal growth to the next level. It's something every time I hear him talk, I'm like, I get so excited. I know my team gets excited. I'm like, oh, Mike's gonna be in a conference call. Everyone's like, oh, let's go. Like, I'm not making another call, let's get on. Because Mike's talking. I've loved working with Mike. I've loved, and he doesn't know, that I'm paying as much attention to him, but I've learned so much from you this summer. It's been ridiculous. And just being able to see how you manage your team and how you work with people, it's been a privilege. Carlos Cordero, he's someone that is definitely in my circle of influence, but he's also a special person. There's no one that drives me like Carlos drives me. I love when he gets talks at conferences, I'm fired up every single time. And he's someone that manages the business in a way that I want to be able to manage my business in the future as well. But if you just look around at the district manager table that we have here in this division, with Karina and with Grace, and now with Andrew, it's something special. There are very few places that you can get surrounded by people that can impact you in a way like they can. And the last one, this one, not going to apply to many of you, probably just a couple of you in your room. Here's what I thought of the pilot sales manager position before I started. You're not your own boss. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I'm running Jeff's office. Not as much flexibility, not my own boss. It seems super high pressure. If you're a future PSM, it is super high pressure, but it's positive pressure. And I felt like there was a little less financial upside. Andrew and I were talking the other day. It was like, hey, so more than you this summer. It's like, maybe we'll do summer. Right? But I was like, I don't know if I want to do that kind of thing. But now that I've gone through this, one that was the biggest change for me. Now, I think that pilot sales manager is the #1 premier growth opportunity event. Because there's no other position where you can have that direct mentorship from the division manager quite like being a pilot sales manager. It's not my own office, but it sure feels like it. And being able to work with him every single day, we talk every single day before 8 a.m. That's something that no one else gets, other than Heidi. That's something that no one else gets that is really special to me, and I've grown so much through that. But not just through that, but all our planning through the fall and spring. We did more planning than probably any other office out there. And being able to learn that, I know how to plan a business plan and implement a business plan personally. That's awesome. So my mentorship with the DVM, I think it's, like I said, I think it's the #1 growth opportunity here at Vector as being a pilot salesman. I know Carlos has done it 3 times for 3 different division managers, and I think it's a big reason for his success as well. And I have such a big platform for influence, which is something I did not have in my branch office last summer, not nearly the size and scale as what I have in Fort Lauderdale right now. This is my absolute #1 favorite part about the position. And on that note, I want to talk about success and service. And when I was running my branch last summer, it was a lot about achieving success. A lot of times people will tell me, and when I'm working close with people, I have a PC with people, they'll tell me, I'm like, hey, what does that drive you? They say success. But success is so big. And I'm like, well, what is success for you? Success is different for all people. But who here remembers the definition or the 2 steps I gave to fulfillment? Just a second ago. I'm going to write it down.
Realize potential and use potential to serve something or something.
Serve something or someone bigger than yourself. It allowed me an opportunity, vector management in general has allowed me an opportunity to reframe my mindset of success. Rather than being something that's just achievement oriented, that's just hitting a certain number, which is awesome, but it's not fulfilling. It's helped me realize my potential, and it's helped me become more as a person and grow as a person so that I can give more as a person. So become more, that's kind of a way you could rephrase that second point. You become more so you can give more. You expand yourself so that you can have a larger impact. And it's really driven on servant leadership. Coming to the summer, Jeff and I had a huge focus on servant leadership. And it's the #1 thing I love about my job because it's a lot harder to quit on others than it is to quit on yourself. And I was quitting on myself a lot back in the day. I'd make a commitment, hey, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. And then I didn't go to the gym every single day. Or I'm going to eat a lot better. I do it for 3-4 weeks, and then you end up not eating a lot better. But when I realized, when my motivation, instead of losing weight to be accepted among other people, instead of doing this to meet other people's standards or to meet some sort of achievement, when my goal was to expand myself so I could impact others more, it took everything to another level. You can ask anybody that knew me last summer compared to this summer, I'm a completely different person. What happened to me fall and spring was something that was special. And this summer, I know I've never worked harder in my entire life, but it feels like I haven't worked a single day the entire summer. I've told a lot of people on the team that. I feel like every single day I haven't even worked because I enjoy it so much. In December, Carlos actually took Andrew and I to a conference in San Francisco called Epic Fest, where I learned a lot of what we're going over right now. But it was a game changer for my personal growth, and Branch helped me realize my potential. But what this conference did for me, it helped me learn what I can do with that potential, and that was to be able to use it for others and be able to impact others. And when I went there, I wrote down this question, which was really a game changer for me and my goals this summer and what was driving me. I said, as a PSM in Fort Lauderdale, how can I help my people realize their potential and give them the tools to reach it? And this is what's driven me the whole summer. This is what made this summer so special for me, is because it was something that's beyond me. You know, it's something you don't get from other jobs. Eddie, one more time. So this is my team. We achieved a lot this summer. We were very successful by other people's standards this summer. You know, it was, if you look at it from just an achievement-oriented perspective this summer, we crushed it. This Monday, we officially hit $1 million in sales, something that I believe only about 8 offices in company history have ever done since 1982. That's awesome. But it's funny because Jeff called me on Monday. I think he called me on Tuesday. Tuesday morning, he's like, hey, how's it feel to be $1 million shipper? And I said, Jeff, it feels the exact same way it felt to be a $999,000 shipper. Because it's, I hate to be cliche, but it's not about the destination, it's about the journey that took you there. And that's where the growth and the impact comes from. You know, and what you're able to get through vector management is that journey that you're able to grow from that. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So what I want to do is I want to share with you guys a few stories about why I love my job, why I haven't worked a single day this whole summer, and how this job has given me the platform for fulfillment that other people don't have at other jobs, and why there's no other opportunity quite like it. First story is Marty Grady Jr. Marty, this is one of my favorite stories of the summer. So Marty started about halfway through the summer. I remember he was going to the push, and he's like, Luke, I quit my lifeguarding job. I want to be on Alliance. He had sold about $2K for his group. And I mean, we had a huge Alliance in Fort Lauderdale, a bunch of studs. And I was like, you know what, Marty, I don't know if you have what it takes. I didn't want to be on Alliance. I said no. And he set out on a mission to prove me wrong. And I remember he came to the office one day, a little broken down. He's like, Luke, I don't know why I'm not selling sets. I was like, well, let's talk about it. You know, he's like, can we go over skills check, all that? And I said, let's talk about it. It's like, why don't you feel like you're selling sets? I feel like I don't have rich people. I was like, Marty, it's not about having rich people. Rich people help, so don't get me wrong. But this job is not about having rich people. We don't sell 17,000 homemakers a year to rich people. We haven't sold $1 million this summer because we've only sold rich people. It comes from yourself. It comes from your own conviction, your own enthusiasm, your own belief. And whatever we talked about that day gave him a light bulb, because the next 2 weeks he made more in income than he had sold previously the first month of the job. He had a $10,000 push, led him on Alliance. It was awesome. But he's one of my favorite Alliance stories of the entire summer. And he texts me just appreciation texts all the time. And he's why I love my job, why I keep going. Next one. Jeremy Williams. And Rachel back. Yes, parents. Jeremy Williams is one of the OGs, one of the ones since the beginning. I believe he launched the very first week, the week before the first week of the summer. He was my favorite interview of the summer. I remember I was like, Jeff, we got a British kid. Yes. But I remember he came back from vacation after SC1. And he had about 2 weeks of nothing but no sales and cancellations. No sale, cancellation. No sale, cancellation. He was doing the demos. He was in the office making calls at all times. He was doing the demos, and it just felt like failure. He's like, Luke, I don't know what's going on. So we sat down before the push. We mapped out his push. Started tackling some directories. Came a little out of his comfort zone. I remember he was sitting in the office one day making calls, and Jeff was there, and Jeff was like, your phone voice sounds awful. Like, Jeremy, you are British. You need to be booking every single one of these demos. I don't know what's happening here, but all of a sudden, he became about the best one on the phones in our office. I remember every all-day phone jam, he was scheduling 15 to 20 appointments ahead of him. He had over a $20,000 push. He's the number one pusher in the pie. Let's give a round of applause for Jeremy. That's it. Leonardo Mills. Leonardo tried to quit on me after day one of training. Leonardo called me. He's like, hey, my mom's not giving me numbers. Little did we know there. It says, my mom's not giving me numbers. I don't know if we can do this. I was like, listen, man, you have my full commitment that I'm going to find a way to do it. I've seen it before. We're going to work this out. You're going to be good at this. He came back the next day. He had a $300 fast start. Yeah, I was. He doesn't know this. I was almost at the point where I was about to tell him the job's not for him. You know, but after his fast start, we talked about it. He stuck with it, and the following week, he sold $6,000. Number two rep in our office. Number two rep in our office the following week. The week after that, he sold another $5,000. That's why I love my job. It's one of my favorite ones. Chase Winston. Working on the live stream. Chase. One of my favorite. I just kind of went through all the pictures of the summer. It's definitely one of my favorites. I remember Chase when she first started. We were like, Jeff was talking to Chase. We're like, what is your style? Like, how do you like define that? I think we came down to the words lazy art. Lazy art. She's an art major at FGCU. And I remember she went on vacation, went to Hawaii for a little bit after SC1. She didn't quite hit her goal. But I very rarely ever seen a transformation of someone through the summer as powerful as Chase Winston. Chase Winston came back from Hawaii. I remember she was so driven. She was someone that was really impacted by circles of influence that she formed through the office. She came back. She went from wearing that to coming to a division meeting just J. Crewed out. I loved it. It was awesome. Like, Chase, you look like a future manager. She said, I am going to be a future manager. Like, oh. She then dropped, just recently, actually, she dropped about $3 to $5 grand over the past couple weeks. She's at FGCU now, but she's one of the key players in our organization, and I can't wait for her to go be a district manager one day. Another favorite of mine, Kate Pinsker. Kate Pinsker. Kate said about 3 words in training. 2 words in training. Kate was someone, she was actually Chase Winston's best friend. So she comes to training, like, well, she's going to be a stud. Chase is a stud. She said about 2 words, and Jeff and I are like, I don't know what to think here. We couldn't read her at all. Her face was kind of straight the whole time. We're like, okay, I don't know. I remember she came in to do a stop by for training. We're like, hey, we just go up and say this and this. And to the training coach, she said, no. What? I said, no, can't go up there. I just can't. She's like, right now. What? She went on to have a $12.5 thousand push, hitting the champion's reception. She's now an assistant manager intern in our office. She's going to be a paid assistant manager within just a couple of weeks. And now, every time she stands in front of training for a stop by, she sounds almost better than we do when we're running training. She's someone that I know is going to be a future manager just because the way she handles herself. I'm blown away every time she speaks in front of people. I love it. That's another reason I love my job. The Rachels.
It's a group.
These are 2 of my favorite stories in the office, the midgets. Rachel Gutman also had a $300 fast start. Remember, she launched her first weekend. I called her the leather queen in training. She loved cutting the leather. And she was another person we couldn't really read during training, but we knew she had a lot of potential. I remember her first day coming out of training. I didn't know what to think. She was like, she looks up at me, Luke, I'm really excited for this. And walks out. Oh, cool, okay. She goes off. She sells $300, I believe, to her grandparents her very first weekend of the job. Then we didn't talk to her for a few days. And I'm like, shoot, I'm this Rachel girl. And it turns out her parents just didn't want her to do the job. Her parents didn't like it. They didn't want her to do the job. And she started to secretly do the job like behind her parents' back. She was like, my parents would kill me if anyone was at the office right now. Don't get it. But she came in and she was recommended by a friend up in North Carolina who also goes to UF. And there are very few people I've enjoyed working with as much as I enjoyed Rachel, because she's someone that I just know she belongs here. You know, she's someone that fits with the culture. She's someone that, you know, we've talked about this a lot, but there's nowhere that she's kind of clicked as well as she clicks here, and I know she belongs here. And in June, she sent me a voice memo. I saved a lot of her voice memos. Anytime I'm in a bad mood, I kind of save her funny voice memos. But she sent me one voice memo, which is the first one that made me tear up at the summer, and just appreciative of being here. She's someone that belongs here. She worked her tail off for the push. I know she's probably in the office as much as I am, just eating mochi the whole time. She works her tail off, and she's someone I can't wait just to pour into over the next couple of years, because she's someone that has massive potential with us. Then the other Rachel Eschen. This is one that I had to change my notes this morning. Rachel started with us as a receptionist. She started in the very late summer, one of the last ones to launch with us this summer. And I remember as a receptionist, we kept telling her how good she's going to be this, how good she is as a receptionist. And she's someone that went from calling Vector a scam to all of her friends to texting me the other day saying, I think I'm in love with Cutco. She's like, I'm just in love with Vector. I love the place so much. 2 days ago, she was at $8,000, and she wants nothing more than to be in the Leadership Academy. And I remember yesterday, she comes in, or a couple days ago, she comes in crying because she's not at $8,000. I was like, listen, Rachel, are your customers going to want to schedule with you if you're crying? You know, I was like, so let's turn the frown upside down, get positive, and book some appointments. Once again, yesterday, she goes, Luke, I'm going to skip Conference of Champions. I said, no, you're not. She's like, I think I'm going to cry. I'm down at 10K. She was at $9,000 yesterday. She was at $9,000. I said, get on the phones right now, book some appointments. Conference doesn't start till 3 o'clock tomorrow. You don't have to be there at 2:30. I'll let you know. You can be there at 3. You're going to get there. You're going to hit 10K. This morning, she dropped her kid. It was the cookware, the baby cookware. But this morning, she dropped the mini kid. She put over 10K, and that's why I love my dog. Next one. It's one of my favorite stories of the summer. It says, when she says she needs knives, so you book the same day. There's a whole story behind this one. But Mila Amy started with us in training. I remember she was also one of the first ones. She walked in Jeremy's training, and Dave was like, yeah, she goes to you. I was like, cool. Yeah, she's on the crew team, like awesome. But in training, she was just the one that was excited about one thing only, Brickle. She just wanted to get the VIP night. All right, let's get her to 10K. And from the beginning, she was in Champions Club every single morning. And I remember she had been through so much adversity over the summer, from learning how to do a Spanish demo to then trying to implement way too much and going through. She's had multiple weeks of going through nothing but no sales. I remember one time she was at like 12, 13K or something. She's like, Dave, can I have base pay? We're like, she's like, you need base pay? She's like, yeah, I just haven't sold anything. But she was doing the job. She's actually the one that started doing the job. I posted on the page the screenshots. I was just looking at them yesterday. And it was about halfway through the summer. I was like, hey, guess who's technically winning a scholarship right now? She's like, what? I'm just doing the job. That was kind of the first time it came about. But Mila's someone I've really enjoyed working with. And this picture really describes her summer, where we debriefed a lot about what she's gained out of the summer. And her ability now to set goals and commit to those goals and reach those goals is more powerful than just about anyone I've ever seen. She came in for morning phone jam, and it was one of the last ones to push, and she didn't hit Brickle for her faster, so she needed to hit it for SC1. She was going to do anything but that. So she stayed in the office and made calls straight from about 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. It's about 4 p.m. and she wasn't screwing around. She was making calls the entire time until she booked the same day demo. I was in the room, and this is the same day demo she booked. She was excited because when she says she needs knives, so you book the same day. This started a streak of signature, and gourmet set, and she hit 10K that night the day before conference. That's why I love my job. By the way, best practices to be personified is Mila. She's maybe not skill set wise, maybe not like how much she has sold, but when it comes to doing the job the right way, Mila, talk to her. She'll be the maker. Next one's Josie Dacko. Josie, once again, there's not many people I've enjoyed working with as much as I enjoy Josie. She was kind of like naive when she started, just kind of like, okay, I'll do the right job. And she actually left training early for a hair appointment. Oh my gosh, it was like prom night or something, so we let her. But I remember she comes up to me after SLDM, and she goes, hey, Luke, can I talk to you? I'm like, oh my gosh, Josie, really? I said, yeah, I just need to sit down. So it's me in the face. She goes, Luke, I'm going to get into TLA, and I'm going to run a branch. I was like, okay, is that it? She's like, yeah. All right, cool, let's talk about it. So I know she became addicted to COC after SC1, but Josie's someone that asks questions like nobody I've ever seen before. And whenever we sit down and we talk, she's asking questions that remind me of Andrew Evans. And it's astonishing to me how hungry someone is for growth at her age. She's someone that I can't recommend books for her to read fast enough because she's reading them too fast and taking so much away from her. She'll send me a text every single day about biggest takeaways she has from all these books. That's someone that's hungry for growth. That's someone to look out for in 2019. And that's another reason I love my job. And I'll hit the slide one more time. Here's my favorite part about my job right now. Oh, almost. Oh, sneak peek. Here's my favorite part about the job right now is because of our staff this summer. Coming into the summer, we didn't have the best trained staff in the world, but we knew there was no option but to crush with this staff. Dave had come from running an office in Puerto Rico. Dave started my summer, actually 2 weeks before me. And Dave is someone that I've seen grow to another level. Everyone in the entire region loves Dave. He's got to be the most loved assistant manager probably in the history of COC. It's pretty fun. But raise your hand if you're from the Fort Lauderdale office. I've never told you that's a Dave question. Every person. Dave is absolutely 100% the most irreplaceable person in our organization. I don't know what I'm going to do next year without him when he goes run his own district office. And he's someone that's grown through the business and grown this summer to a level that I never thought I would see in Dave Nogales. That's what excites me. Kirsten is someone that I've actually known since preschool. She went to school with me, and she, in my branch summer, she's like, "Hey, I need a job." I was like, "Cool, you're coming to work for me." And she's someone that has just 100% loyalty. No matter, coming into the summer, she didn't know how assistant manager got paid. She's like, "How does our pay work again?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "I mean, you can just tell me, like, jump off a cliff, I'll do it. Just go listen to you, Luke." Okay. But she's someone that's grown so much this summer into just a young professional that I never thought I would see from Kirsten. She dated my best friend for a long, long time. It's kind of how we knew each other. But I just never thought I'd be as close with someone like Kirsten because of how we've grown up together. We weren't really that close growing up, but through Vector, I'm so excited. She's someone that has so much potential, and she just something lit a fire under her this summer. I'm pretty sure she was the #1 recruiter in the entire division this summer. She had shows over like 70% consistently through the year. She's someone that's just incredibly special, someone that's going to be running a branch office next summer. I got money on her for being either #1 or 2. The other one that I got money on for #1 or 2 is Grant Strayer. Grant Strayer started in my office last summer, and he's someone that I clicked with right off the bat. He's someone that him and Kirsten both had 10K pushes for SC1 when they started in my summer. But Grant, if you know Grant is someone with just a ridiculous amount of potential. He's a brilliant kid. Grant is someone that's brilliant, has an incredible work ethic, and he's someone else that flipped the switch this summer. Whereas he had a point in the summer where he didn't know if he was going to be here next year. And he went from that to setting like a 7-year plan to build wealth in order to grow bison. But that's the kind of person Grant is. He has this billionaire mindset where he's going to go off and he's going to grow bison one day. And I know Grant is someone that I want to be in business with for the rest of my life because he's someone that has the integrity to do it, but also has the drive and the intelligence to do whatever the heck he wants to do. It's another reason I love my job. There's nothing that excites me more in my career right now than Grant and Kirsten's branch office next summer. Because I've never had a time where I can be more excited about someone else's success than I am my own. And my goal for them is that they both run a better branch office than I did my first summer. And that's what I'm most excited about next summer. And that was a real wake-up call for me, just kind of taking it out for myself and caring more about them than I do myself and their success. I am absolutely pumped for that summer and talking about their growth plans and what they're doing this fall and spring and what they have the opportunity to do. There are other people that are now just reading books at a faster pace than I can suggest. The last one, Andrew Evans. Andrew Evans. I was telling the story to someone about kind of how Andrew and I came up in the business the other day in the office. There was a group of people in the office that were curious about it. I was like, you know what? This is how I kind of want to finish off my talk. So I'm going to just tell you the story of how Andrew and I have grown through the business, just so you can kind of see a template of what's about to come for you guys. So our first summer, I was a rep in Fort Lauderdale. I was one of the top reps. We had the 4 Horsemen, which Dave and I are part of that. He was an assistant manager in the Fort Lauderdale office. So if you're a rep and you have an assistant manager now in your office, that's kind of like the relationship we had. And we weren't really best friends. We really didn't like much at all. I think he liked the other 3 of the 4 Horsemen a lot better than he liked me at the time. I don't blame him. I was kind of screwed. But I remember that summer, every assistant manager quit except for him, and he had the responsibility of basically running 5 with one other person. And seeing him do that, seeing his work ethic, I know it's something that changed him. I got into TLA that year, and I was the kid in TLA that year that kind of just went through the motions. You know, and there's 3 ways that you can go through TLA. The first way is you don't do the assignments, you basically don't go through TLA. You go through the events, and write this down. There's 3 ways you can go through TLA. You don't do the assignments, and it's not going to do anything for you. The second way you can go through TLA is you're the kid that goes through the motions. That was me. I was still in high school. I was like, yeah, I'm just going through the motions. And you'll have assignments and stuff through TLA. These are the ones that do the assignments the night before. If that's you, TLA is not going to be enough for you. The third way you can go through TLA is the way that I've done the past 2 years. And that's why I actually did these assignments, guys. They're not like school assignments where you get graded. These assignments are things to create positive habits in you personally, professionally, and financially, so you're able to up your capacity more for the rest of your generation. And when you actually do these things, when you actually do the budgeting we talk about, when you actually do the journaling, when you actually do the reading the books, when you actually do these things rather than just squeezing them in the night before and treating them as assignment and more treating them as habits that you can develop, that's when TLA becomes a game changer for you. So if you come out of TLA on the other side, you're like, well, it's not all it's hyped up to be. Here's the reason why. Because you're going through the motions and you didn't take it seriously. You didn't take it to develop the habits. That's what I did kind of my first summer. And I was the one that I was like the last one to make it out on the other side, I remember. I became kind of the lower assistant manager in the Fort Lauderdale office and had to work my way up. But I remember Andrew was running a branch in Boca. That was in 2015. And I saw him running his office. It was cool because he was a top 10 manager at the time. He sold $136,000, I believe, that year in Boca. He had the smallest office you've ever seen. It was like you walk in, it's a receptionist area, and it's like bathroom. That's it. Just those two things. It was like a little personal office, but I remember walking, it's like, this is your office. But really funny to see where he's from today. But then we went through TLA round 2. And I remember I went to Olean. That was my first time going to Olean because I didn't go the first summer, or the first fall. So I went to Olean, and in Olean, everyone that I had grown up in the business with quit or went on to something else. My best friend Charles went on to go do sports management. My manager at the time, Ricky, had gone on to do real estate, and it kind of just shocked me. That was my circle of influence at the time. You know, it was the only time I really had big doubts in the business where I actually wanted to quit. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be here if these guys aren't here. This is kind of the reason I look forward to coming to events and all that. Just imagine your two best friends in the business just leave. And I remember we were on the bus at Olean, and I was like, Andrew, I remember making a video or something. I was like, Andrew, I feel like I want to quit. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, don't quit. I said, okay. He's like, dude, we could be running this place in 2019. I was like, huh? So yeah, we could be running this place. And kind of built a vision. I was like, okay, sure, I'll stay. So I stayed. And I remember that's when I told Jeff in Olean at the banquet that night after the bus ride. I was like, hey, Jeff, I don't only want to branch next summer. I want to be really good at branch. I think Andrew and I want to finish number 1 and 2. He said, okay. So we set a bet that if we finished number 1 and 2, that he would take us out for an epic dinner. And that's what this picture is, the epic dinner of us finishing number 1 and 2. That is us drinking very fine, very expensive bourbon through some very fine, very expensive bones because we had ordered very fine, very expensive bone marrow. So we're luging the bourbon through the bone. It was probably the best liquid that's ever gone into my mouth. It's like smoky bone marrow. It sounds weird, but trust me, another level. This is a peek into heaven right here. Just drinking expensive bourbon through bone marrow. But yeah, so back to the story. In Olean, I remember he was just like, hey, don't do it. Or hey, stay with it. And I stuck with it. And so that summer, it's funny, when you all get your territory of where you're going to branch, and I expected to be branching Naples because he was the number 1 candidate. He was the year before. I was just going to do it in Boca. And no district or no branch had ever been in Miami at the time. And I remember getting the call of Jeff telling me about territory. I was fully ready to pack up, move to Naples, go find a place. And he's like, hey, Luke, you're getting Boca. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, we're going to put Andrew in Miami, and I'm giving you Boca. Like, that's awesome. So what I got to do at that time is that's when Andrew and I really started to talk like every day. And I would start to learn from what he did the last summer in Boca, what he did right so that I could replicate it, what he did wrong so I could fix it. And that's where he really started to influence me. And I think we really brought the circle of influence together. And that was a big game changer for me. What's funny, that summer when we finished number 1 and 2, we were talking every day. And one of the things we would always talk about was how neither of us would ever PSM. We would never PSM. Just like before I would never branch, we said we will never PSM. And we list all the reasons that I showed before why we would never PSM. So then TLA round 3 came around, and I ended up PSMing. But I saw it as an opportunity where instead of just learning from Andrew to make my way into more of like the learn with circle, to learn about at such a high level with Jeff, and it's paid off for sure. In TLA round 3, that's when Carlos took us to Epic Fest in San Francisco, which I'm forever grateful to him for. Because that was such a big game changer for us because we became true. You know, and it was a time where his needs became my needs and Carlos' needs became my needs, and we're in this together. And it's where each other's success matters just as much to us as our own success, if not more. I remember sitting in fall kickoff last year, and someone had been talking about Andrew wasn't there, but Jeff was talking about branches that were coming back the following summer. And if you know Brian Herman, he's very animated. And he said, yeah, Andrew's going for $700,000. So Brian Herman was back, and I just hear him go, damn. And it was a time where we got higher, we set our standards so high, and we set our goal at $1 million. I remember we were sitting in the PSM meeting, Jeff and I, and we set our goal we had our conservative goal, our middle goal, and then like our high goal, and $1 million was like our high goal. It was really fun to reach. But that round 3 of TLA, when we actually started to do the things and develop those habits, it was a big period of us being able to develop habits. That's when we became like Olympians of personal growth. Because that second point I talked about of fulfillment, when you expand yourself more, you have the capacity to impact people more. And that was the big game changer from last summer to this summer for me. And summer 17, this one really speaks for itself. Andrew's going to hit his goal of $700,000. We just hit our goal of $1 million, which is really cool. But what we're doing here is we're building an empire. And Andrew just chose to go DM. And it's really funny how those conversations go, because I was on the bus in Olean, and he was like, bro, don't quit. I said, okay. And so he texted me a few weeks ago. He's like, bro, should I go DM? I said, yeah. I said, okay, I'll text Scott. It's funny because that's just kind of the relationship we have now at this point, where it's just like, okay, yeah, I trust you. Sure, we'll do it. But, he's someone that pulls the best out of me. He's someone that helps me realize my potential. He's someone that expands my vision further than I ever could imagine myself going. We've had growth conversations just recently, and he's opened my mind to things I never thought I'd be capable of. And this is a job that helps you fulfill something like that, and helps you surround yourself with people of that caliber, helps you impact people on that. He's impacted me, I've impacted him, even from the upper level with Jeff, and Jeff being in my Learn From. I've learned so much from Jeff this year. This is not the same division as when I started in 2014. To be able to see Jeff grow into what he's been is another one of the things that's so special to me. United is a special place. There's no place like this division in Vector. And what a lot of these talks are for the management opportunity talks are, Vector management is great. But what I want to stress to you guys is Florida United management is something special. It's something that's on another level. It's something where not only are there no other place in the company like this, I doubt there's other companies that have anything like this, that have this culture of growth, this culture of holding each other accountable, a circle of influence, this intentionality. I guarantee you there's no other place in the world that people at our age are talking like we do. And it's what we're building here is something special. So I don't care about your major. I don't care about your school. I don't care about your race. I don't care about your religion, your ethnicity, your dreams, your beliefs. What I can tell you is that with 100% unadulterated confidence, this is the place to be. From here through 2019, through 2019, we're building something special. And if you're at this meeting, it's because you're a champion. Conference of Champions, we changed the name. We invited less people, right? And it's because you're a champion. You're someone that we want to take with us to 2019. And this is definitely the place to be this summer. It's funny, as we planned the summer, we're like, hey, this is going to be the hottest job in Broward. I looked at Jeff and was like, yeah. And it is now. You don't go many places where people don't hear about Cutco. Everyone knows about Cutco. Josie's going through recruitment right now. She just texted me, like, everyone knows the night job. It's funny. But this is the place to be this summer. This is really going to be the place to be next summer. But in 2019, it's about to be epic, and I hope that you guys all have a chance to be a part of that.
That dinner wasn't just there. We went on a gamble, Adventures of Jeff and Heidi food tour through Brickell, Miami, South Beach, Miami, and Midtown, Miami. So that was very expensive fun. Yeah. Anyway. We're going to take a quick stand-up stretch before I bring up our next speaker. So I'm going to stand up real quick. If you lack energy, what do you do?
Give it.
Give it. So we're going to give it to our next speaker. If you lack energy, what do you do?
Give
You give it. Stand up. Big inhale. Exhale.
So what we wanted to facilitate today was a meeting that was going to also give you a glimpse, a peek, an exciting look into what TLA is like. So we talk about professional, we talk about personal, we talk about financial, and of course we talk about Cutco here. So I would say these next two messages, we've got time management, and then we have financial management. Oh, I'm sorry, time management and then public speaking. I think these two hand in hand are two of my favorite personal and professional growth messages. As it applies to TLA, it applies to really what can change everything you do. I can't think of a year where I've run TLA, and I've run 17 years of TLA. They get better and better every year. I can't think of a year where time management isn't at the apex of importance. I can't think of a year where high school graduates and college students don't need this skill at a very high level, because I know what it's like to be a college student. It's really difficult. I know what it's like to be a high school senior. It can be very difficult. I know what it's like to transition from high school to college. It can be very difficult. It doesn't get easier. So one of the things I love about Mike's message, twofold. I love that Mike's the one giving it, first of all. You know, for years, Mike has been an ambassador of personal growth. But what Mike has done, he's systemized. He has systemized time management. And I'm not going to take much from Mike's message. Mike will talk about his grad program, and he'll talk about all the great things he's doing for students in Pinellas County, Clearwater, Florida. But Mike's time management program and his system is used pretty much throughout the entire Eastern region. And we're the #1 region right now, so it's safe to say that Mike Abramowitz has changed time management in the Eastern region, and possibly in vector marketing. Mike Abramowitz, in a very humble way, is one of the masters of time management. Raise your hand if you have more than just Cutco going on in your life. Please raise your hand, because that's why you got accepted. We don't want Cutco only. We don't want, I'll say that this doesn't sound respectful, but I'll say it. We don't want Cutco nerds. Right? Anyone can just, oh, I only do Cutco and that's it. You have any friends? No. You play sports? No. Do you go out? No. Do you ever have fun? No. You in a fraternity, sorority? No. You involved in your church or synagogue? No. What do? I just sell a lot of knives and make a lot of money. That's boring. That's lame. And I said this at SU too. There's no company that wants someone who's just good at one thing. Yes or no? What do you think? Do you agree? The med school doesn't want the person who can only study. They want the person who can study and fill in the blank. They'd rather have a 3.2, 3.4, 3.3 engineer than a 3.7 engineer who only studies. And so part of the skill set is how do you manage your money? Raise your hand if you could get better at managing money. Raise your hand. Most of us. Raise your hand if you could get better at managing your fitness and your energy level and what you put into your body. You're going to love TLA. We're going to show you that eating healthy is not eating like a rabbit. Although Mike, sometimes it's okay. When I start. It's not about just, oh, well, I have to diet and I can't eat anything. I'm going to show you how you can have whatever you want, but in moderation, how you can calculate. It's called macronutrient tracking. And you can have fun. And when you're in college at Tallahassee, you do things that you do in Tallahassee, you know how to offset that. Or UF, or fill in the blank. Okay? Mike has been ambassador for personal growth for our division. Mike has worked really hard to build his grad program in Pinellas County, Grad Tomorrow, his charity, PB&J for Tampa Bay, is skyrocketed through the roof. And I couldn't think of a better person from our district manager team to teach you time management today. And one thing I know about all of our managers, here's one thing I know. When someone puts time and effort to prepare messages, what did you think of Luke's message? Was it helpful?
Yes.
When Mike puts effort into this message, when I put effort into a message, how we start and how we finish are the most important. So when you bring the speaker up with a lot of energy, you're going to get the best mic. And if you get the best mic, you're going to get a lot of value from this talk. So you guys want to get some value today? So
yeah.
Right. So you got to bring energy to Mike. You got to get it excited. You got to bring out the inner nasty lion in Mike, because there's an inner, actually a nasty rhino. There's an inner nasty rhino in Mike who will charge you this talk and crush that in. Can I get you out for this today? Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
So to start off our TLA lessons, to give you the goods today, And to send us off to an awesome break right after with food, I give to you our district manager from Clearwater, Florida, Mr. Give Me Energy, Mike Abramowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Gamboa. Woo! All right. So there's some handouts. Does anybody not have a handout? Raise your hand. If you do not have a handout, there should be 3 handouts. There are 3 handouts, and they are up here. So you can ask someone to grab them for you, but they're up here. Raise your hand, and someone will get them to you. There are 3 handouts. I want to talk to you today about time management, but really it's not just managing time. We all have 168 hours in a week. So we're not managing 168 hours. We're managing ourselves. So we got to make the hours count. Muhammad Ali said, don't count the days, make the days, right? You got to make the days count. I have a lot of content for you today. What do I have a lot of? So in order for me to make sure that the energy stays high, I need 100% engagement, because if you approach this next maybe about 40 minutes that we have to teach you time management, in this next time that we have together, this could set the foundation, not necessarily just for the fall, but a great foundation for the rest of your life. If you really understand the concepts we're going to talk about. Are you guys okay with that? No or yes?
Yes.
So if everyone can take a deep inhale through the nose. And hold. And slowly exhale with a smile. All right. We're going to dig in. We're going to dig in. See, time is something that's easy to put off till tomorrow. We don't want to put things off till tomorrow. My toughest year in college was my freshman year before I started working with Cutco. We call that BC, before Cutco. That was the toughest part of my time, because I didn't understand and grasp the concepts of time management. So Mike Abramowitz before Cutco, 2 weeks before my interview, if you notice, the cornrows. So 2 weeks before my interview, I didn't understand the concept of time management nor self-management. See, we all have things that come up in our life. We all have problems, challenges, things that come up. It's not necessarily what happens to us. It's how we respond, right? So it's how we respond. So, but a lot of those challenges only happen because we're not in control. So I'm going to teach you today on how to control your time and how to control your outcomes that you want. So everyone go ahead and find this priorities worksheet, because what we're going to do today is we're going to help you walk through your priorities so you know what's most important in your life. Then we're going to take those priorities. I'm going to show you how to quantify those priorities. I'm also going to teach you how to organize those priorities, and I'm going to teach you how to systemize those priorities. So by the time you're done with this message, you're going to know how to organize, systemize, prioritize. You're going to be ready to go. And I would say maybe 10% of this room, unfortunately it's a large room, and unfortunately it's only 10%. 10% are actually going to implement what I'm going to talk about, and 10% of you in this room are going to come back next year, 1 year from today, and say, that talk is why I was able to have my cake and eat it too. That talk is why I was able to run a quick cake club brand. So thank you for that, Mike. And then the other 90% are going to come back next year and say, wow, that was a really good talk. I should have listened to it and should have applied it last year. And that's okay. That's okay. It happens every year. Why am I still giving this talk? It's beyond me. It's beyond me. I want someone in this room to master the art of time management and self-management, so one of you deliver this message next year, and I hope it's one of the 10%. So if that's you, that would be fantastic. So hopefully that challenge is accepted, and I'm no longer giving this message. That's my goal for every one of you. So take notes with the intent to not just learn, but the intent to apply and also teach, right? We want you to take notes and efforts to teach. So let's go through it. So rate your priorities. So rate your priorities 1 through 5. There's not a right or wrong, so there's a priorities worksheet. Now, for some of you already have one of these planners. This is the Grab Your Time Planner. If you have this planner, I would encourage you just to do the exercise in this planner. So the exercise is already in there, and you can just do it right there inside of it. So that way you, and those of you guys that pre-ordered, I have your copy for you here. You just pick it up at this table. But in the planner is the actual exercise. You can just do it right in there. So what you want to do is just rate your priorities 1 through 5. Rate your priorities 1 through 5. There's not a right or a wrong. Just go and rate them. I'll give you a moment. I would encourage every single person in this room to do this, including everybody. I think it's only going to help. I really believe that. You guys, another 15 seconds, 1 through 5, rate your priorities. And they could change, but if you had to figure out what they are right now. As you're finishing up, I'll give you guys another few seconds. And if I move faster than it takes for you to do some of these exercises, no big deal. You can catch up. You can catch up. Once you're done with rating your 1 through 5, just look at me so that way I know you're done. Take a smile if you want. Okay. You guys' heads are coming up. Good. 1 through 5. All right. So now, if you're still prioritizing, no big deal. If you're done prioritizing, we're going to go to step 2. Before we can put things into a schedule, we need to know what's important in our life first. So step 2 is to figure out, why are the 5s your 5s? So why are those number 5s your priorities? So why are those 5s so important to you? So go ahead and take a moment. You can do this in your journal. If you have your planner, if you have your grad planner, there's a notes section in the planner. I would encourage you to do it right there in your notes section, so that way you can remind yourself. The purpose of having the notes section is so that way it's all in one place, so you don't have it separate, and you can always just remind yourself of, why is that important to me? So find your 5s. Why is it a 5? And then you could, if you want, there's not enough space to do it right here on this worksheet. You could do it on the back of one of these worksheets. You could do it in your journal. Why are those 5s your 5s? What is it about the 5 that makes it extremely important to you? We're not going to have time to do every one of the 5s, but I encourage you to do at least one of the 5s. What is it about a 5 that's extremely important to you? So if you're 5, say if one of your 5s was school, why is school such a big priority to you? If 5 is family, why is family such a big priority to you? If I give you more than enough time, do as many of the 5s as you can, but at least do one. You can do as many as you can. Why are the 5s important to you? You guys, another few seconds to gather your thoughts with your priorities. Now this next part of the prioritization exercise is really interesting because sometimes it's tough to quantify. So now we know what the priorities are. We know why they're priorities to you, but then we want to quantify how we can measure on whether or not you're actually doing and making those a priority. Because sometimes I have people say, or maybe you have friends say this, that you don't understand. School is way more important than blah, right? Or, my family comes first, right? You may have heard this before, right? But how do you quantify or measure that priority? Because sometimes, how do you say family's more important than work. Let's use that as an example. Family's more important than work, or family's more important than school. But you have an exam on Monday night that you already studied for, you're already prepared for, and family was simply just a dinner that was like kind of thrown together last minute, but you prepared for a final exam. Now, is family more important than just a family dinner that was thrown together than a final exam that's 50% of your grade? You have to measure it, you see? So you want to kind of measure or scale your priorities, because if not, you're always just kind of going through the flow and you're not grounded. So you want to try to premeditate or try to ground yourself. So how do we do that? We do this little exercise as we're talking about. We want to systemize it. So how can you measure progress for each of those 5? So I gave you a couple of examples on how to do this. How can you quantify family? Maybe there's a certain amount of dinners each week that you say, you know what, when I set up my schedule, I want to meet with my family twice a week, or I want to sit down with my significant other this many times a week, or maybe health was a priority for you. I want to run a mile this many times per week, or if it's school, I want to dedicate this many hours to this specific class each week, or this many times per day, or read this many books, or this many chapters per day or per week. So you want to try to quantify a way to measure your progress. So go ahead and try to take a shot at that. Try to quantify a way to measure your progress for each of those priorities. See what you can come up with. I gave you a couple of examples. See what you can do. Maybe it's church or spiritual or religion. That one's pretty easy because it's set in stone for you every Sunday in a lot of cases at a certain time, but maybe there's more. Maybe there's a Bible study group. You can quantify that. I want to do it twice a week, or I want to read the scriptures 4 times a week, or another moment or two for that. And some of the measurable might be on a weekly basis. It might be on a monthly basis. It might be on a daily basis. So you can try to quantify a way to measure your progress on a daily, a weekly, or a monthly scale. So what do we have so far? So far we rated it 1 through 5, what's most important to you. We're taking the 5s first just as an example. If you really want to take a little bit extra time on this, you would then take your 4s, you take your 3s, and you would take your 1s, and you figure out, okay, why are they what they are? And you want to work a little bit more, figure out what your priorities are. Why are things important to you? Why are they not important to you? We then say, why are the 5s extremely important to me? Why do I want to make sure that those are a priority? How can I measure progress towards those? And lastly, you want to figure out, are they set in stone, meaning set in stone every time each week? Is it movable, or is it a filler? What does that mean? A filler does not necessarily, that's like that dinner we just talked about, like the thrown together dinner. That's not necessarily, maybe that's a movable priority for a lot of you. But maybe if it's just like a last minute call from a friend, maybe that's a filler. If it's every single Friday night you have family dinner that is a set in stone priority, that would be a set in stone priority, non-movable priority. So now I want you to take each of these right here, okay? I want you to take your 5s and I want you to put the activities. The activities that were just the activities that you just measured. So the way you just measured your activities. Let me kind of get you guys here. This right here. So family is both a set in stone and a movable. So let's, does anybody have family as one of their top 5? As a 5, right? Most of the time. So I use this one as an example. So it's a set in stone and movable. Some of these activities, dinner twice a week, lunch 3 times a week, cook with dad each week, nature walk with sister twice a month. So you're taking these and you want to put them, is this dinner set in stone? The dinner is set in stone every Tuesday. The other night is movable. Lunch is movable. Cook with dad is set in stone, and nature walk is set in stone. So what you want to do is you want to figure out of those activities that you just figured out, are they set in stone, are they movable, or are they fillers? Most of your priorities probably can be set in stone or movable. So let me give an example. Let me get somebody that's not family. Give me a 5, just so I can demonstrate this. Who has a set in stone that's not family? What is yours? So school. Okay. So let's do school. So for example, school's a 5. Why is school a 5 for you, Ella? So in Ella's world, in order to be successful in the future, I need to get good grades in each of my classes. That's her reasoning. Now, how do we measure that? How do we measure progress toward that? There's attending the classes. What would attending the class be considered? That would be would that be set in stone or non-movable, a movable, or a filler?
Non-movable.
That would be a non-movable. So going to the actual class is a non-movable. Okay, it would be non-movable typically. Typically, it'd be set in stone. What else? What are some other ways to set the priority for class?
Studying can be movable.
So studying is a movable priority. What are some other things that go into the banner of class under school for you? So preparing for exams. So meeting with the professor to discuss grades. So what is it called? Office hours with the professor. Movable, maybe even a filler, right? What are some other things for class? What are some other activities? Homework, right? Homework might be an activity for school. See, there's studying for the exam, but then there's homework assignment that's due on a weekly basis. What are some activities for class? What are some other activities?
Studying with the teacher.
Tutor session or meeting with the professor at office hours. So this is a whole list of things that you want to write down. Reading before the class. So before the professor is going to teach you, kind of premeditating, right? What's going to happen, what's to come, look ahead. I love that. That's what A students do. What else? I could piggyback off that one, debriefing your notes after the class, right? Might be another one. What else? Give me 2 more. What are some other activities that could be in alignment with class?
Paying attention, taking notes.
So actually being present in class. I like that. Give me 1 more. Reduce distraction. So making sure that your cell phone is off and or you're in a quiet place where there's no distraction. So now we have our list. Then you would label that list as non-movable, movable, filler. Everyone see? We're premeditating our schedule. We're taking our life and we're putting it on a sheet of paper before it actually happens. Before it actually happens. Most of the time we just go with the flow and see what happens, but we're trying to premeditate to see what happens before it happens. That's the goal. Because if we wait to see how we feel, that's like anchoring the boat to the water. We all know how well that's going to work, right? So we want to premeditate and anchor all of our emotions to what our actual priorities are before we actually put anything in the schedule. Let me take a timeout real quick, and let me answer any questions or take any light bulbs real fast.
Not light bulb, but
Or question, comment.
yeah. So to be 100% engaged, 3 things, right? Follow best practices. Remember that. Number 2, be hungry for growth. So what does that entail?
Take notes.
Take notes. And then number 3, thank you. Number 3 is have personal clarity. When you have personal clarity, you become a better decision maker. What decision are you able to say more of?
No.
No. That's exactly what he's talking about. That's exactly what he said. I didn't even prepare for this. Great. You should be a district manager. We should work together. Oh, wait. So time management, it's not just a matter of saying no to the bar on Friday night. I keep making that joke about going out Friday. It's not just that. It's no to the, no, Mom, our set lunch is Tuesday when we know we're going. I know you just booked with Aunt Molly today, but I'm not prepared for that. Tuesday, you had me Tuesday. That's a no to Mom. That's not disrespectful. No, that's a no to something you're clear on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's does everyone catch that? So eloquently tied that together. So the prioritization exercise allows you to figure out what you're going to say yes to and what you're going to say no to. Right? All right. So let's go ahead and actually do some time management. Let's go through this. So everyone, if you have a monthly schedule, so many of you guys do. If you don't, then you want to definitely have a monthly type of schedule. It looks something like this. You don't have one on the handout, But if you have your planners with you, you can do this. If not, you can just take note. So a monthly schedule outline will look something like this. And when you have your monthly, now I know some people say, Mike, I do it electronically. I'll tell you right now, if you ask any CEO, any company, they have a physical planner too. There's just something about physically seeing the handwriting in the plan. Perfect example, Vector Connect is down. If all of your life and everything that you're trying to get accomplished went down with the internet and you don't have the backup, man, it's just there's something about having the physical, tangible schedule. And if this thing is lost, man, everything is lost, in my opinion. But I mean, because you spend so much time and effort and energy putting it on the paper. So I highly encourage you guys to have a written plan schedule for you guys on a weekly basis and a monthly basis. So what you do is in the monthly. So you can just take notes where you can actually do the activity. Put all the activities in your monthly calendar and your weekly schedule. So you dump all of your set in stone priorities, all the things you know. What are the easy things that we know? What are some of the easy things we know certain dates of? We know birthdays. We know when exams are due. We know TLA assignments. We know the dates when they're due. We can plug those in easily. Those are set in stone. They're not going to move. It's very easy to put those into your monthly calendar. So you always want to do your monthly first. Now this is advanced time management. More than likely, I'll probably be speaking to you guys at some point during TLA again on advanced time management. It's tying goals to those monthly schedules so you can see your 30-day incremental growth. How can you measure your 30-day incremental growth? With school, it's easy because you get grades, right? With losing weight, it's easy because you can measure your progress. But how do you measure progress with a relationship, right? So when you get good at time management and get good at goal setting, you tie those two together and you can measure each week. So not what we're going to dive into today, but just something I wanted to point out to you. So you take your monthly, and what you do is you take your goals and you put them down at the bottom of the schedule. You take your goals and you put them at the bottom of your schedule, so that way you can just see how you're pacing towards those goals, and you can constantly remind yourself of, with Cutco, it's easy because you have a sales goal, you have a target of what you're shooting for. With school, you can figure out what you want your goals to be with your grades. With health, it's easy. But again, there's certain things with like spiritual or with relationships that sometimes it's a little bit more challenging. That's why you want to force yourself to try to quantify and create a measurable system so you can see if you're moving further away or moving towards your goals. All right. So let's come up for some air. So what did we get accomplished so far? We came up, what we got so far is we have your goal, your priorities, the things that are important to you. We created a quantified system for them. We dumped it into our monthly calendar. Now let's go ahead and figure out all the activities that we want to get accomplished over the course of a week. So there's an organized to-do list. Go ahead and take out the organized to-do list. We're actually going to do this one for you. On the back of this, there's one side that's a sample, and then there's one that allows you to fill in the blanks. So what you're going to do is you guys have your partners, right? You guys have your partners. So what you're going to do with your partner, I want you to collaborate. You figure out one of the priorities, and they figure out an alternative priority to you. So say if Ella's priority is school, what was one of your priorities that's not school? One of the clubs he has. So you're going to help him with the club one, he's going to help you with the school one. Does that make sense? So you're going to do whatever is an alternate one, and I want you to collaborate with a partner, with your crew, and kind of work together to help them figure out all the different activities that might go behind that item. So just give you an example. So school, you list off the classes that you have. So there's like the different classes, the different activities, and everything you just thought of, and you put it into this little diagram. So the end result, end game, is going to look something like this. This is one I did for Doug Sanson when he was at Geneva College. We did this on one of our PCs and one of our one-on-ones, and we put all of his classes and everything that he has to do, and we itemized, watch football on Sunday, movies on the lawn, all these miscellaneous things, any of the birthdays, so under friends and family, church, personal, Cutco, we put it all on here on this one little sheet of paper, and this was his roadmap on one sheet of paper, and then he took it and put it into his schedule. So you guys are going to create a roadmap for your partner. You guys down for that? No or yes? Yeah. That's why we're going to do this, because your energy level is like abysmal on that. So you guys go ahead, Find your partner. You guys okay with this? No or yes?
Yes.
Cool. Find your partner. Go ahead and organize a to-do list with your partner. Go. If we could. Nah, it's okay.
that's what we use that, fill in the entire semester and just plan ahead. Because there are certain times in the fall that you'll get a chance to step up, go big with cut codes. So, cool, how can you get ahead of those classes so that we take a little more time off school and study time? Just got ahead.
Yeah, there's only 2 pushes during the fall, right? And one is in September and one is in October. Okay, so it's just like an SE1 and an SE2, and then there's not one until winter break. But so when you put all of you take your syllabi, you put it into your planner, and you can like kind of get ahead in school at certain times when you want to, and sometimes where you just want to stay regimented. Questions? Let me go to you guys real quick. Questions or comments right now before I can let you guys finish your activity real quick. Questions or comments right now at this point? Comments.
So it's just if you guys are focused on things that you're already strong in, I highly suggest you talk about things that you really suck at, because someone around you will probably be able to help you out with that.
Love that. Right? So if you know you're like, school, I got that. But my relationship with my mom, kind of rocky. What are some activities that I could put into my schedule to make sure that I make my relationship with my mom a little bit stronger? Or if you're like, faith, I got that. But my health and fitness and nutrition, kind of rocky. How can I help like create a meal prep or a nutrition routine or a workout routine or something like that? Maybe you can bounce those ideas. I really love that. Any questions or comments? Cool. All right, take another minute or two. Minute or two, and then we'll move on. Minute or two, and move on. Under the Cutco quantify, able to quantify category. We'll go Blake and then Ella, and then we'll go to over here. What is it? So TLA assignments, right? So some of the TLA assignments might be it might be to memorize a certain part of part of the interview or a PR script, or it might be a book assignment, right? So those are a couple of ideas under assignments. So phone time. So you have at least I would say an hour Sunday, 2 hours Wednesday, so you can quantify that. An easy way to quantify it. Excellent.
Planning and managing your time.
So an actual sit-down session, like we're doing right now, how many times or how often or how long?
Once a day at least.
So sit down and look at your plan once a day. How long would that session take once a day? Maybe a couple of minutes, right? How long does the weekly one take?
30 minutes.
Maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And a monthly one, how long would that one take? Maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? A campaign one, maybe another hour, maybe 2 hours there, right? I like that. So sit down with yourself. Give any one or two, a couple more. So we'll go Amanda.
I would say organize. So just take some time out, organize all your rec forms.
So time to organize your attack list and your target list. Does everyone have that one in there? Right? Target list updated. What else? Give me another one. Another way to quantify your Cutco business. So when are you going to talk to your manager? Or when are you going to talk to your coach? How many times is that? Is that daily? Is that weekly? Is it that a couple of times a week? That might be something you might want to put in your schedule, right? And ask Carlos list. And ask Luke list or whatever it might be. And every time you just think of something, you just write a list. So that way the next conversation you have with them, you can actually be effective and productive.
Observation time.
So observation time. If you're learning how to run an interview, when are you going to watch someone run an interview? Love that. So if you're not writing down this list, it might be a good idea to do so. That's the 10% I was talking about. Because there's some people in this room that say, time management, man, I just like to go with the flow. And that's fine. We need those people. We need those people. They're just not going to be branches. Accountability. Love it. So maybe that's a to-do. Set a bet with my manager if you don't have one. Something like that might be an idea. So this is the part of time management that is probably new to many of you. This is the part of time management. Most of you guys are comfortable with the part of time management that just looks like this. 5 minutes and you're like, oh yeah, I could draw some lines and some names on a sheet of paper. It looks something like that, right? Many of you guys are good with this time management. This is the part of time management you think you're good at, right? The part of time management that we're not so good at is in between the gaps. That's what we're targeting right now. That's why I decided to spend this much time on that part of my message to fill in the gaps. That's the uncomfortable. That's the gray area. That's the part that doesn't get filled. So I wanted to draw a little bit of your attention to that. Empty the to-do list into the planner. So now the next step of time management, is to empty that to-do list into an actual schedule. And you empty the to-do list with your rocks, pebbles, sand. Where does that even come from? Rocks, pebbles, sand. It comes from if you had a jar and you want to maximize the space in the jar. How do you maximize the space in the jar? What do you put in first? You put in the rocks first, and then you dump in the pebbles around all the rocks, and then the sand fills in all the space. Because if you put the sand in first, and then the pebbles, and then the rocks, there's all these space, all this gap in the jar, and you're not maximizing the space in the jar. So we're premeditating. How do we want to have our schedules? How do we want to use the 168 hours? So what we do is we want to take your non-movable priorities first, then you put in the movables, and then you put in your productive fillers around that. How many of us say I have been guilty of this one? Ready? You don't know what I'm going to say. You're going to be guilty of it, I promise you. How many of you guys have been guilty of this one? It's like, you know what? I know in my schedule, or I know I'm supposed to do some phone calls right now. I'll do it later because I feel like I deserve a nap. Anybody ever feel this one? Like, I know I have a homework that's due on Friday and it's Tuesday. I have so much time. I'm just going to do mall, video game, TV, nap. Say aye.
Aye.
Right? You guys know what I'm talking about here. So essentially, we want to take that and put it in the schedule so that way it's done. The guilty nap sucks. The goal is to get everything done before 3 p.m. If you can live life between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday, that is the goal. If you could get every one of your priorities done by 3 p.m., the movable and the non-movable priorities done by 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Oh man, know what freedom feels like? No, because you guys don't do that. But I will tell you, a non-guilty nap is one of the most amazing experiences that you guys get a chance to have. The non-guilty nap, the actual careless free time, the carefree time, where you can actually say, I've got everything done and I feel good and I've won the day. How do you do that? Set up the schedule 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Many of you guys are already registered for classes. You have evening classes. I highly encourage you to switch out of them. Highly encourage you. Everything good as a college kid happens at nighttime. It happens at nighttime and on the weekends. So open those up. Not just Cutco. I'm talking about anything. Football games, right? Dinner outs with your friends, parties, demos. That's when your husbands and wives are home, right? Maximize your evenings and weekends. Get everything done 8 to 3, 8 to 4 if you can. So you put everything in there. Then you review your monthly, make sure everything gets in your schedule. Put everything and dump it into your schedule, and your weekly schedule will look something like this. Why do I like 15-minute intervals? Because it actually exposes the gaps. Many individuals like to use like a box, or like it's like 3 days on one page, and it's like these boxes, or they're spaced out by an hour. Those are easy because you're like, yeah, look, I'm so busy. Look how much stuff I have to get done. But those little gaps are what are exposed when you actually get disciplined with filling in the incremental times. So what I like about the Grab Your Time Planner is the 7 a.m. It starts at 7, it goes till 10 p.m. And it also has a column for Sunday. So that way you can have that column for Sunday, which some of the planners, it's like this little box at the bottom where the Grab Your Time Planner has the full column for Sunday, which is really important. And it also starts early and it ends late, which is nice too. So now we emptied everything into the schedule. Here's the last part of time management. And the last part of self-management is now we have everything that looks good in the schedule. You have everything in there. You put your organized to-do list together. You dumped it into the plan. It's the daily discipline to actually get those things done. So the concept that I heard from Jack Canfield is 5 things daily. Jack Canfield's author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. He's in The Secret. The 5 things daily concept. And he calls it something else. You could call it a big 3. You could call it a focus 5. Chet Holmes from the Ultimate Sales Machine goes for a focus 6. Whatever the number is, I like 5. And what you do is you go through the schedule for the day and you pick out 5 items that must get done. That if you fail everything else for that day except these 5 things, then you win the day. And every time you hit one, check it off. Ooh, every one of those checks gives you an increase in a dose of what is called oxytocin. Gives you an increase of dopamine. Some people like to increase their dopamine by drinking caffeine. Some people like to increase their dopamine by, partying a little bit. Some people like to increase their dopamine by, you fill in the blank, maybe popping a pill of some sort. Know how easy it is to increase some sort of dopamine or oxytocin into your body? Check something off of your to-do list. You guys know what I'm talking about? You ever clean your room and you just look, you're just like, oh my God, I feel so good right now? That's called dopamine, right? You don't need to take any type of medication to feel that way. You can do that by simply just checking something off your to-do list. And when you do that 5 times over the course of a day, know how many check marks that is over the course of a year? That is 1,825 check marks that you have in your schedule. Think about that. Know how accomplished you're going to feel 1 year from today if the 10% of you actually do that? Where if you actually and just checked off 5 items every day in your schedule. And you look back and you say, you know what? I won this year. That was my best year ever. Hence the title of my first book, Your Best Year Ever. That's where this concept came from. Because I did this for a year, and I'm telling you, transformational for my life and my business. 5 things daily. You write a list of the activities that match up with your goals. Pick 5 off of that list at the end of the day. So today is what? Today is Thursday. So before tonight's over, you pick out 5 things that you want to win the day with tomorrow. You already have 3, pick 2 more, right? So then when you wake up tomorrow morning, you write down your 5, and as you complete those 5, you just check them off. And you just, oh my God, I feel so good. And then you pick a new 5 for the next day. And then you wake up to those 5 things, and you just go through the process again. Called intentional growth. Intentional growth. You become masters of time management and self-management. You need to know what your priorities are. And you take a moment to reflect on what's important to you. What are your values? What's important to you? You put everything into your schedule. So a couple of, before I kind of wind things up, any light bulbs, anything that landed with you, I don't know what you don't know. So maybe you knew everything that I just talked about, and I honor you for that for sure. And I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm saying that for me to sell $295,000 worth of Cutco around my 5 engineering classes and winning a scholarship and balancing a relationship and managing 3 properties while I was graduating college. Oh, my first house when I was 20, I was renting out the rooms. By 22, I had 3 houses. I was renting out the rooms. I was managing those 3 properties while I ran 2 branch offices, right? I was pursuing my engineering degree. I had my relationship. I had family up in New Jersey. I traveled. I would say I lived the dream as a college kid. How I was able to do that? Using all the principles that I just shared with you today. Before I give you these last few. And I'm not saying this to impress you. I'm just saying that these tools, I learned these when at a meeting just like this. And I implemented them, and it worked. And I built what I would say a great life for myself using these same principles. So let's debrief before I wrap up. So we'll go Brenda, and then John.
One of the things that I just realized that I don't go back and read my list about companies, but I don't go back and check them off. So I don't get the benefit.
Ooh. So the check mark, the little check mark, getting the benefit of the check mark. I love that. I love that. John?
I think one of the things that I've been good at in my time is the rocks and steps, but I never really thought of the concept of sand.
The sand.
Yeah, or to maximize those little gaps, because I can get so much more done. And then there are little things that aren't really that big of a deal that we take for granted. You can take 5 minutes, but you don't really do it, and they start to pile up because you don't put them in your schedule.
Yeah.
But if you really just think of it in the concept of, oh, okay, cool, I have 5 minutes here, let me do this.
5-minute activities. You just sparked something. I'm gonna come to you, but you just sparked something. Let me spark. Let me go on this real quick. I'm not gonna take the spark and light a fire. Okay. There's different quadrants. It's a great book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And there's a teens version by Sean Covey. It talks about the different quadrants. And there's urgent and important, and those are the 2 sides. And some activities are urgent and important. Some are urgent, not important. Some are important but not urgent, and some are not important and not urgent. And what Jonathan's talking about is quadrant 2, which are things that are important but not urgent, meaning they need to get done at some point in time, but it doesn't have to get done now, like paying the bill. That would be something that's important, but it's not urgent because I have till the end of the month, right? So it's important, but it's not urgent because I got a couple of weeks to pay it. But what happens? If you don't make money or create urgency for the 2 weeks prior, then the last minute, it's like, now it's urgent and now it's important, and that's what creates pressure. Because we procrastinated on quadrant 2, on the things that are important but not urgent. They don't have a time frame. So if you don't create a self-imposed time frame on those activities, then that's when it takes over and consumes your life, and you lose those naps. And then you take guilty naps because you shut down because you don't want to face the realities of the neglect that you really created for yourself. And I love that, taking those 5, 10 minutes, 15-minute intervals, but premeditating. What do you want to get accomplished in those? Doing your 5 things daily of like, in this gap, you know what? I know I'm going to go to school. Duh. I'm not going to put that in my big 5. But that conversation with the professor that I've been putting off about that 1 grade, you know what? I'm going to have that in this 10-minute gap. I love that. Gap management. We'll take one more over there.
Actually following through with these gaps.
So fill the gaps, do what you say you're going to do. Love that. We have one more?
Yeah, I was saying, definitely checking things off. I normally X things off, like cross them out, but not realizing like putting a check mark that seems like much more positive.
Yeah. Simple. I like that.
Helps you out, like think, oh yeah, I completed that.
Yeah, I completed it. Checked it off. I like that. So let me wind up with these last thoughts. Always use a pencil. Things do come up. You got to be flexible. Things will change. Things are going to happen. Don't be so addicted to the schedule being perfect, because that way when it's not, you're like screwed. No. As long as you get those 5 things done, you're going to be golden. And if everything else falls into place, that's fine. If it doesn't, you'll bounce back. Best time that I like to do this is on Sundays or earlier before the upcoming week. Personally, as a district manager, I need my next upcoming week done by Thursday night. So because Sundays are when the week starts, so I like to have my upcoming week done by Thursday evenings because the weeks start on Sunday. So just a thought there. Always turn off your phone. I had somebody, I texted somebody once and they're like, I'm doing my planning, sorry, I can't talk. Well, then you're really not doing your planning because you're your cell phone. Hey, I'm studying right now, I can't talk. No, you're not. Your phone's there. You're not really studying. You're not focused. You're looking for an excuse to get distracted. That's what you're doing. Airplane mode is your best friend when it comes to doing any type of mental type of work, such as planning or doing any type of scheduling or whatnot. Turn your phone off. Don't overbook yourself. Don't spread yourself too thin. So if you have like a 10-minute gap, you don't have to fill it in with something. Just put like a little word in there. Just remind you of what you want to get done. And I encourage you to take notes on those tasks. So not just put a check mark. You put a little note for yourself. Constantly take notes and keep record of things so you can look back and see what did you get accomplished. And I'm an advocate for that this summer. Why? We had a good summer. Guess what I want to do next summer? Have another really good summer. So document everything so that we can repeat the habits. If you had a good SC2 push, guess what? Do it again. Figure out what you did. When did you make your phone calls? How many appointments did you do? When did you organize your phone numbers for that push? Document it now while it's still fresh in your brain, so next summer, you're already documenting, you just have to redo the plan, maybe a little bit of a higher rate. So just to kind of help you guys out, was this helpful for some of you guys?
Yes.
So this prioritization exercise is in this planner. I have a couple of different books. I have 2 #1 bestsellers and a 3rd bestseller as well. I have a journal, a guided journal, as well as a planner that I put out for my second business. And what I wanted to offer you guys is the planner today. I went ahead and this is my Amazon inventory. Amazon's going to be selling this for $27 a planner. But I wanted to offer it to you. It has the notes section, the power planning section, the worksheet. I also threw in the $35 workshop that the schools use for Grab Your Time. So I put that inside the planner as well. So you have the video workshop along with the planner. Something like this on, if you go to like at a glance, they're like $30 for just the planner, $32. It's going to be on Amazon for $27 plus tax. If you guys want to pick one up today, I printed them out for you before I send them to Amazon. I'll hook you up for $20 flat. And you can do Cash App, you can do Venmo, you can do a card, have a little swipe thing. You can do whatever works best for you. And as a first call special. Yeah. All right, buy now bonus. If you want to do it today, I'll hook you up with my Grab Your Thoughts, the journal. I'll give you the PDF. It's a journal to kind of guide your thoughts. It's $15. I'll hook you up. Put your email address down. I'll email you the PDF so you guys can use that to help you guys out as well. So, so just to clarify, that's available for all of you guys. I'm here to support you. I'll be at the late night FSMs today, the mixer. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll be available to help you guys out. And just remember, don't count the days, make the days count. And it's all about self-management. So appreciate your time, guys.
You guys get value from that message?
Yes.
If you've got value from that message, say thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, sir.
My pleasure, guys.
I wanted to show you something real quick before we go. What we're going to do, the food is on its way. So I figured what we would do, and managers, if you could get prepared for this, we're going to give you your keys for your rooms. I'm going to ask that you not go get settled. I'm going to ask that you go and just dump your stuff. Come back down, and right outside the room. And in just a second, outside the room, we'll have food. Okay? The next session, please look at your clocks and watches right now on your phones. It's 6:54. We are starting at 7:40. So this is, I'm going to put something on the TV real quick. So this is what Mike's talking about. Mike's so sneaky, he's putting in TLA lesson #1 from September prep. He's sneaky, sneaky. Who's here? Who's next level in the room? You guys remember this? Yeah, he's sneaky, sneaky. Quadrant #1 is where most college students live. Urgent and important. Everything's a freaking emergency when you don't manage your time. Deadlines, exams, crisis, last minute preparation, meaningful appointment. It's just, that's where you have to manage your life. That's no fun. Not urgent, but important is where life is you live life at the fullest. And you can take a picture during the break. I'll keep it up. This is where you're planning. This is Mike's talk. Problem solving or problem prevention, whatever that means. Good joke. Self-development, healthy, quality relaxation, relationship building. Have you ever seen kids do the best at quadrant number 2? You see the two little middle school, high school sweethearts and say, hey, Johnny, you talked to your little girlfriend for 3 hours. Yeah. What'd you talk about? Oh, no. You remember what you talked about? Not really. That's the best conversation. That's the, we call that adventures of Jeff and Heidi. That's what we call it for each other. And sometimes you forget, and it's at 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock, and we were at the W all day just chatting and laughing and telling stories and getting really brown, okay? But that's the best. And then you have urgent, so meaning time-wise it's urgent, but it's not important. Like certain calls and emails and somebody else's problems and needs. Raise your hand if you've been guilty of taking on other people's crap. Yeah. Try to help the world, but you can't help yourself, as they say. You want to avoid this. So you want to manage quadrant 1. You want to focus on quadrant 2. You want to avoid 3. And limit. Not urgent, not important social media, watching TV. You know me, I'm not a gossiper, so I hate this. But, shopping I love, so it's a necessity. Well, retail therapy, right, ladies? Okay. But this is okay in the gaps. So I was hoping Mike would say, does anyone, what do you do for the sand? For me, ESPN.com. My rock, my pebble, rock pebble, ESPN, what's going on? 15 minutes, okay, good. Then I go back to rocks and pebbles. And for me, it's not social media, but ESPN.com or something that has to do with my faith, or reach out to a friend because people say, you work with Cutco, no one knows where you are anymore. That's your fault. That's our fault. You're just with Cutco and they're your new family, aren't they? Maybe that's why they feel that way. So you call mom in this 15-minute gaps. Hey mom, I'm just checking in. I was thinking about you. Here's a rule of thumb. If it's not a rock, it's not a pebble, and you're thinking of someone, call them. If you're not doing a rock, you're not doing a pebble, and you're thinking of someone, call them or text them. Hey, I'm in between things, just thinking of you, saying hi, or just calling to say hi. Do it as many times as you can. No one ever says, I don't ever see you anymore. All you do is Mr. Cutco. Okay? I'm Mr. Everything. I'm Mr. Wonderful. No, I'm kidding. So you gotta be able to fit it in. Ready? Any light bulbs on that one? Okay. One more time. Thanks to Mike. That was awesome. Also, I want you to hear from the division manager. I am fully advocating the grab planner. In fact, that's going to be not mandated because I don't feel like it's fair to tell you what planner you have to get. Because just like journaling, which we'll teach you, just like planning, which we'll teach you, I'll teach you fitness routines. My fitness routine and what I'm going to teach you might not be the one for you, but it might spark a really big light bulb for some of you or give you the direction you want to go. Right? For example, Mike is vegan. I personally don't prefer that, but we have our different versions of eating. And some of you are vegetarian. I like weights. I like the gym. In fact, I was going to show a picture, Andrew. I didn't. But, I like to go into the weight room with Andrew sometimes. It's fun. The meathead photo. But ready? For some of you, it's CrossFit. For some of you, it's yoga. For some of you, you like to run. Heidi used to love to run. Now she's in the gym. So we're just going to give you ideas. There's no one way to be a best version of yourself. So our job is to throw you as many ways as possible. That's not the only planner out there that works. In fact, I don't even use his planner. But I love his planner. Okay? So what I'm saying is this. You don't have to buy his. If you have one you prefer, fine. But I'm fully advocating that Florida United uses the grab planner. That's what I'm saying. Okay? So if you're going to get one, not get one, just know that at the first prep, one of the assignments is you will need to have a planner purchased and ready to go by the first prep. You might as well get this one if you're here, or you're going to talk about it with your manager, but and there are no benefits for me on this one. I'm just really, there's a reason I put him on the program for this, okay? So it is now exactly 7 o'clock. I recommend you go put your stuff up. Go find your managers. Raise your hand. Actually, managers, stand up. Everyone sit down. Manager, stay standing. Find a different spot. There's Luke. Andrew's going to come over here. Okay. Karina, over there. Orlando's right back there.
Like 5 minutes late. It was almost late. And I thought,
Okay, everybody. The food will be down when you. The food will be here when you come back down. 7:40. Okay.
40.